You know, because like there's a lot of different elements to like the whole system is a big sort of thing, right? You know, so you have like the forms, like the Sulam Tao, which is our sort of like, you could call it like the base, like the book. You know, can't fight with a book, but it's like important to kind of understand like, okay, this should be, you know, where's the position it's supposed to be in and why, like what's it supposed to defend, you know, like, so you can kind of a lot, you know, tell this arm, okay, you're dealing with this side, and this arm you're dealing with that side. And so there's, you know, certainly a few kind of things that come up.
I always appreciated that in karate, where you guys kind of have been breaking me from what I've been learning, is because in karate they always teach you to cross block, and I mean, I'm sure it applies in Wing Chun, but what I've noticed is it's a little bit more, this hand matches this hand and this hand matches this hand.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's unavoidable because of the way, you know, you set up. And so like, you know, normally we train both sides equally, but when you fight, you'll probably have a preference, right? Like, just, that's okay, you know, as long as the practice is to make the body like able to do things on both sides, but it doesn't mean that you know, you have to, you know. So I guess, like for example, in the exercise you were talking about before, that's a parallel arm drill, but we've got the cross arm drills as well, you know, so that you can teach your body, you know, what you want it to do under this situation and under that situation, right? Because there might be a slightly different ways to get to the blind side, for example, from there as you would from there, you know. It's similar, but it's like a little bit different, you know, so you have to, it's not enough to kind of just know what to do, like your arm and your body kind of has to do it on its own at some point, right? So that's why I like practicing the forms and doing the movements enough times, you know, like Sifu was saying, like getting the, you know, like if you're teaching a guitar or something like that, you know, you got to know where the notes are before you can write a song, you know what I mean? Yeah, so there's like a process to all of that, right? And certain drills, like a scale or a drill, can only teach so much, but, and you don't really use that whole drill or that whole scale in a song, but then every once in a while it's like, oh, I remember that from this time, and then there's like a slightly different, you know, drill that comes up. Like, so if you're, for example, like if you did one punch and I blocked, but then you threw the other punch right away, I might have to go to cross. So I need to know, like, oh, okay, I might have a kick here, whereas here I might have something else, right? If you did it in the reverse order, okay, that like changes things a little bit, right? You know, because you end up in a different position, right, from where you started. So that's kind of like the point, I think, of like the one arm drill. Like, so you're training what to do when you're underneath, training what to do when you're on the top position or on the outside, and then you got similar ones from like on the other side, of course, and then from the cross as well, right? So do you guys want to start, and we'll go through the form one time, and then we'll you know, so just follow. Is this on, Sifu? Were we on? Were they listening to us the whole time? Oh, okay. Hello, everybody.
So they learned something.
Okay. All right. So we'll. Main thing first is like when you're doing this, I think, is like you want your body to move almost zero while your arm is moving. You know, this is for teaching your isolation. Yeah, but later on it's important too, because you don't want to telegraph what you're doing. Right? So the less my opponent sees, the better. Yeah. You know, so the less my opponent sees, the harder it'll be for them to defend it, right? You know, so try to keep your like spine super straight, your shoulders back, you're staying in the crouch as much as you can. All right, so we, you know, begin here. time. And then the finish, pocket, strike. So this is where I would call the end of section 1 and the starting of section 2. So the next sequence, go left and right, backwards and forwards, and then left on top of the right, making a square as much as you can. Good, yeah. And then we're going to swing to the side and then back, except this time that the right is on the top. Okay. And then we're going to push forward, draw inward and outward, and then we're going to go down and up, and then double circle, squeeze the fist tight, usually before I come back. Okay. So now that's second section. Okay. So then the third section, we go back to one arm at a time. So you do a Foxal, but this one's kind of close to the shoulder, and then we're going to strike to the lower body level. Yeah. Straighten the arm out, and then circle there. Same thing on the other side. Straighten it out. Okay, the next little sequence starts on the side and comes up to here again. So it just sort of starts on the outside, comes in, pushes forward. So we're at 12 o'clock. Yeah, good. And now we're going to go down to 6 o'clock and back up to 12. And then this time we're going to circle but strike in without, yeah, good. And then a second circle before we pull back. So the right side's the same, of course. We're going to start on the outside. It's not really always a move, but it's showing you the path. Good. 6, 12 again, around and hit, and then back. So we're almost there. We got the bonsai next. The wing, yeah, good, good. Try to like maybe push your wrist away further. Yeah, good, good, good. And I always like to keep my wrist straight so it's not bending. Yeah, exactly. So then from there you rotate to here again, and then we're going to do a low strike. Yeah, even more if you can. Yeah, that's it. Good. Straighten it out. So the right side, kind of open up the hand, and then rotate as you lift up. All right. And then again, yeah, push away slightly more, yeah. So it's kind of the same angle as this, just upside down, right? You know, so I don't want that. You know, I kind of want that diagonal shape. Good. And then you strike to the low target, fingers down. Yeah, it's kind of an odd one, but I can show you what it's for. Squeeze first, and then the closing of the form. We'll go back to two arms. So the left is down. What we're going to do is slide down, but as you do it, you're going to twist and pull back. Yeah, make a fist with it. Yeah. I like to stop in the center, not off to the side all the way. Good. And then switch. Yeah, and one more time. And then 3 strikes. Left, right, leave it there. Left. Good. And then you double it. Squeeze again. And then we can bring the feet, and you gotta make sure that you get taller at the end, so you know that you are staying in the crouch the whole time, right? Yeah. So, all right. Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot there, right? A lot going, like a lot of stuff. So, sequence first. Once you learn the sequence, you can kind of play around with like the variables and so on. There's actually like different palm strikes in each section. Right. So that we got like a vertical, there's a diagonal, there's a like a horizontal for the lower one, and like almost this 6 o'clock one for like even, you know, or if someone's head is down, I might want to come in like that, let's say, right? You know, not to say you couldn't do other things, but right. there's different, you know. But the cool thing about that is without changing your elbow position very much, you can actually like face, jaw, rib cage, you know, lower body. You know, so you have like this different shapes for different targets, you know, depending on what I want to hit, I might change my shape, you know, like, so that's, you know, so in set 1, I go vertical. In, what's next there? Then, oh yeah, you got different strikes. You got this one too. This could be a strike as well. Like one of those guys. depending on which you're from. This is really good when you're on the blind side, right? You know, like if I'm on the outside, you can kind of come across this way. And then you've got, you know, usually in this section here, I do a diagonal one, right? So it's like slightly diagonal. This would be good for the jaw, you know, like, so kind of like in this area, right? Whereas if you wanted my nose, you might go more vertical. You don't have to, but it's like you can sort of pick and choose, right? So you can see from the side that that shape would fit in nicely underneath the jaw. But if I was like this way, it's not to say that wouldn't work, but if you wanted to hit that, I might just slightly change it, you know, or hit with a fist or some other thing, you know. It's like, and the form's just doing them once, so you can mix and match them as you need them, right? So, okay, any questions jumping up before I just babble on and on and on?
No. I liked it. Yeah. So Sifu was telling me like that. I obviously had that wrong. It's really important to keep your elbow in.
Yeah. Okay. So this one here is it's called the Foxal. So it's like a dog's paw. And yeah, so because you're on top of the arm, so you would be on top of my arm, right? So if your elbow is loose, then I might slip through, right? So like before you get this out of the way. So that's usually what this one's about. So if you're in that position, you can see how like without doing much, you know, I'm actually off the center. It's really just the sweet spot that you got to really, like, if they hit me on the, you know, the chest here or something, that's not as critical as getting hit in the dead center, right? Yeah. So when you're square up like this, it's not so easy to get the elbow in. And normally we don't fight squared up. You know, I would be doing this in a diagonal setup or a front stance maybe. And that would, you know, kind of help a lot because my center is actually not as square to here. But in some of the drills, like we start square because, you know, it's kind of like the hardest position to defend from. Yeah. So if you can do it from the toughest position, like flat, then when you're diagonal already, I might only have to move just even a little bit, right? So you minimize it even more. So this form, in the other forms, you do a lot of the more diagonal variations of the same movements, right? So like this one, it could also be on the outside, you know, like the outside of this thing that we do at the very beginning is kind of drawing the area where both arms should be able to reach. Okay, so outside that area, you'll notice like one arm gets a lot shorter than the other. So I could compensate by stepping and bringing you back within that, right? Oh no, you're over there. You know, I move my foot and now all of that moves with me too, right? So I always want to have a situation where both arms are available for me and one arm isn't available for you. That's like the blind spot, right? So if I was charging in and you move over there, see, like I don't have this arm as available and you got both arms in play. So that's an advantage, right? Unless you don't use it, right? And then you lose your opportunity, right? So that's kind of like the conceptual way of looking at that, right? And of course, you're just mostly isolating one arm at a time here, right? So every one of these movements, the defensive ones, is actually setting up a punch from the other side. So that's why you're just keeping this one tightly squeezed, because I know that when I defend this, you know, if you were to feed a punch around here, I would, you know, free up this arm to strike with, because, you know, but if I wasn't facing it very, you know, I'm not going to have that, you know, so I'd have to follow up in a slightly different way. Yeah. And because punches sometimes they come in combinations, you know, they're not going to like hold that position very long. So if two punches come, I do one thing and then I have to switch to the other. You need to kind of, you know, improvise sometimes a little bit, right? But we're hoping to keep it within that area as much as possible, right? So let's, before we start doing any real techniques, you know, because like what I heard you asking about before is like, you know, how do you even like read what your opponent is doing, right? Because if you have two types of reflexes, you got your visuals, and then you've got once contact is made. That's what the other drill is for, is to help me sort of, I can feel what's happening, right? But before we touch each other or any contact is made, it's eyes, right? So let's just, you can face each other, but I want you to just get into your neutral stance. Yeah, and we'll stay, that's far enough for now. Good. All right, so just don't move for a second here. We'll go with you here first. So if I'm standing here like this, not gonna get any closer. I just want you to start looking and watching not the face or the eyes or the center, but more the, you know, if we start with punches, so I'm throwing punches, what you want to do is, if I'm set up like this, this is the closest one, right? And this is slightly further away. So I would focus on the closest one first. And so if I'm punching, you can see the elbow moving as it comes forward, right? So you focus here for a second, and I'll just do that, okay?
Right.
So you're tracking it from the elbow rather than the fist, because the fist is going to be moving very quick. So if I do this, if you watch from the side, just watch my limbs here. So you can probably tell my fist is moving faster than my elbow is, right? Just because that's just the way our bodies are, right? It's moving less distance, so it should be easier to track, right? In the same amount of time, my fist is moving this much, my elbow is probably only moving a fraction of that, maybe half or less, right? So that's one way to read what's going on. So if I'm here and you're watching this, for me to throw this punch, watch what happens here. It starts to pull away. And at a certain point, this becomes the closer elbow, right? You know what I mean? And then here, back to here again. All right, does that make sense? If you're watching this and it starts to pull away, you realize, okay, they must be throwing the other side, right? And whether you touch it or not, if I throw the other punch, you should watch here. Yeah, you start to see this happen, right? And your eyes zigzag back and forth and back and forth. Now this happens very fast, of course, right? You're watching it. So if I'm doing left rights, whether I'm doing Wing Chun or boxing style or karate style punches, like they still have an elbow, right? You know, so it doesn't really change. It changes what it looks like slightly, but it doesn't really change the body mechanics that much, right? Okay, so having said that, I'm just going to put this down for a second. That's really important to not missing, right? You know, because if I'm looking at your eyes and you throw a punch, it's just my peripherals, right? But if I was looking at that and you threw it, like, to me, that's like very obvious, right? But if I'm not looking for whatever reason, and a lot of people like to punch you when you're not looking, right? I mean, if you're not in a sports situation and you're doing this in a non-sporting, you know, where the referee goes, "Are you ready?" You know, and then you go. If this is a spontaneous, violent type thing, and I'm starting to feel that, like, this person's up to no good, like, I actually start scanning this right away. For kicks, it's the knees, so it's the same, right?
And it's more of a stationary object than the fist. Like you're saying, the fist is moving quicker, so it's a lot easier.
It's easier to track, yeah, for me. And also, like, okay, so when you set up like this, if you're concerned with kicks too, the box between my elbows and knees is much bigger, or smaller, sorry, than the box between my fists and my feet, right? So, like, at this distance, you can see my whole body almost, right? But as I get closer, the lower level starts to get a little bit less clear, right? But if you're looking here, then if I lift my knee, you'll notice that. Whereas if you're looking up here, you might not notice this as easily, right? Because you're chasing all over the place. Certainly.
One of our Sifus is a boxing coach, so I was with one of his students, his boxing students, and so I was telling him to watch the elbow. Let's do this. I'm going to touch you here, and I want you to slap my hand away. Okay? Now look at my elbow now. You got me every time. You do the same thing. I want to try to touch you here. Just use one hand. This hand. I want to punch. Okay? Now watch my elbow. You got me every time because you're watching the elbow.
And it also, you know, like, if you recognize a threat too, right? Like, that's a threat. Like, if that was a knife in his hand, you can imagine, like, you know, you can maybe take a punch, right? But you can't take a lot of stabs. So, you know, it's very critical that, you know, that's important, you know, because outside sports, you know, there could be a broken bottle, it could be all kinds of different things, right? So, like, paying attention to where the threats are coming from. And no one's ever punched me in the face with their eyes before, right? So as soon as you feel like, okay, I'm getting aggressive, it's like, okay, I want to understand my distance, and I'm looking for, you know, you got your hand in your pocket, what are you doing? You know, like all those little body language type things, right? So we'll do a little drill. We'll just call it, it's similar to what Sifu was doing. One arm defends against two arms, right? So if you want to set up your guard, I'm just going to feed an outside, an inside, and this. And all you're allowed to do is use your leading arm, okay? So we're going to get, well, let's face this way, okay? So let's do the left side, all right? I guess we should face the camera. Sorry, I just like the view. All right, so if my left guard is forward, whether I'm in a front stance or side neutral, whatever we are, they've got to, you know, we're occupy the center, right? So that takes away some of the straight line, right? Which means you got to decide, you want to come the outside or the inside or underneath. Makes sense, right? So I'm in the center position, they go to the outside. I'm going to do a Foxal. I like to pull the fingers in slightly, elbows a bit bent, but bring it up high because they're aiming for our face, right? Okay. So from the guard, if they punch on the other side, we're going to Foxal. Come back to the center, and if they come underneath, we go downwards and crank the fingers up, right? Because there's a little sharp spot, and if I punch that, it might hurt my arm. So it's going to go Foxal, Foxal, and Jutsal. Okay, so remember that. So check this out.
Be the bad guy so they can see it.
Okay.
Okay, watch. You tell me what to do.
Okay, so my guard is here. So the punch comes out there, and here, and down there. And I'm just watching. All right. And I try to come back to that center position each time. Because, and if you ever played tennis or any of those kind of sports, they run back to the center because it's the closest distance to everywhere else, right? So if you get caught on the left side, it's my right side that's open now, so I don't want to come back here. There's other reasons too, right? But we'll just try this a couple rounds here. So you just set up your guard there, and if I come on the outside, good, back to your guard, and then to here, yeah, and then underneath. Yeah, you want to catch it there, yeah, that's it, good. So on the outside, inside your guard, under the guard, outside the guard, inside the guard, under the guard, right? Remember that? Okay, left side forward, yeah, very good. So you're watching here now, right? Not my face. Yeah, thank you. Even if I'm looking at your eyes, it doesn't mean you have to, right? So you watch here, and then if I throw this punch, you see it? Yeah. And then under. Good, again. 1, 2. What happened? You were looking at my eyes again, see? 1, 2, 3. So you should peripherally be able to see my face, right? So even when you touch this, you can still be kind of like monitoring this side, but you know where my head is, right? You can see it. So now you're looking at this arm, and now you see, okay? So what happens here is when you touch and I pull away, it tells you the other punch is coming, right? Because I can't really punch effectively without this one moving, right? So there's like contact and then it's gone, right? Let me try again. Sure. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good, one more time. All right, we'll try your right side just quickly, and we'll let you guys try it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oops, what happened? See, I caught you looking, right? So simple drill, right? It's not. There's more I want to show you to that in a second, but I want you to feed it to each other if that's okay. All right. So just pick who wants to go first. All right. So you pick your side. Good. And then so it's high, high, low, and then back to just repeat. Yeah, just repeat it. High, high. Good. Now don't look at his face so much. Just watch the limbs for now. And as soon as you touch one arm, just keep going. See, that's important though, because if someone goes outside the pattern, you don't get to pick and choose, right? Can you punch me this way, please? Right? So just keep going. It's okay.
I was actually watching his elbows.
And you caught it, right? Exactly. Good. Keep going. We'll go for 1 minute, and then we'll swap. Okay. 1, 2, under. Yeah, that's right. So outside, inside, underneath. Good. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Good. Keep going. A little quicker, maybe. You don't have to go harder, but like a little faster in between them. There you go. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3. Good. Back to your guard. Remember, come back to that center as much as you can. That way. Yeah. 2, 3. it. Good. All right. Yeah. Make sure we go both sides, at least once each.
Yes.
Okay. Does it hurt a little bit?
Yeah.
That's good. Thank your partner, because it's the person punching who gets hurt, doesn't it? Right? That's important to remember that, because when someone's throwing a hot punch at you, and instead of hitting the target, it's their arm that gets hurt.
Right.
It serves as a bit of a deterrent. It may not make them go away, but it will certainly, like, they remember, right? That kind of stung. I'll try something. Oh, that hurt too.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurt too, right? So just to tidy things up a little bit, the shape. So just hold your arm straight out for a second. So on the outside, I want to do this shape, right? Not like I want to make sure, because if this by accident hits above my wrist, this would kind of like break through, right? I'm trying to push this way, and when you're not throwing it hard, you can still feel a little bit of, right? So then you combine the force you throw in there, right? Now, we wouldn't normally just stand there and do that. It's just a drill to kind of like get the eyes sharper, right? And so that when, as you know, here I can look at your eyes all you want, right? But like, okay, now it's like okay, now I'm looking at what you're gonna do, you know, or what I'm gonna do if I see an opening based on the setup, and I see, okay, I'm slightly on the side right now, and I'm gonna try to move over here. So I come forward, okay, and I saw an opening, right? I wasn't looking at that. I was looking at this, but I can tell where your arms are, or if I can see where your arms are, I can also see where they're not, right? Because I can only be in one place at a time, right? Even if they're moving, there's going to be like opening somewhere, right? So this isn't perfect. This guard isn't perfect. There's openings. It's like I still have to get there.
Yeah.
It's just this center position is the
Shortest.
yeah, it's like it gets me back to here. Now the other kind of cool thing about this, from each of those, is you have a punch.
Right.
Okay, so if you can feed those to me again. So bam, bam, bam. So if I get active, it slows you down a bit, right? You know,
Yeah.
so like what I would do is if this pops you in the nose, it's not so easy to throw that next punch, right? Because either you got to eat the punch, or you got to defend it and then throw the punch. So it's like slowing you down, right? So that's why I don't like to chase around. I like to come back or take the center. I might miss, right? You know, there's no guarantee, right? So just try this in the air with me. Let's do the left side first. So we're gonna do Foxal punch, Foxal punch, Foxal punch, Foxal punch, Foxal punch, Foxal punch. So it's all off the same arm, right? You can use the other arm, but this is already out there anyways, so why not? Foxal punch, Foxal punch, Foxal punch, Foxal punch, Foxal punch. Okay, so just keep doing that in the air for a second, right? And so, yeah, so don't kill me here. Ready? 1, throw the punch. 2, throw the punch. 3, throw the punch. Again. Good. So see how I'm dodging it?
Yeah.
It's still not bad for you because I'm not punching, I'm dodging,
Yeah,
right?
keeping you
It's
off.
keeping me away from you, right? So like, and that's only because I know it's coming. I could block it too, but then I'm blocking, not punching. Still good for you, right? Yeah, you would rather me blocking your punches than defending mine. Right? If that means you're stealing my turn in a way, right? I'm just gonna try that. So you defend, throw the punch right from there. Boom, back, boom, back, right? So you see, it kind of stops me from just. You see, I would have to eat that punch, right? So do that again, right? So this is one way to, kind of take your turn back, right? Boom, it's my turn. It's always your turn. It should always be your turn, but it doesn't mean like I can't throw a punch, right? Boom, back, right? Okay. And if we do this super slow, from here, look how close your hand is really to my face. It's not far, right? It's not easy to generate a lot of power there, like you get it over time. Same thing there, and same thing here, right? Because the most vulnerable I'm gonna be is while my arm is extended. right? Because I have to leave something unprotected to throw that punch. It's under here, it's up here, wherever it might be, right? Yeah. Good. So, yeah, that's. We'll watch them for a second. Yeah. Good punch. Yeah. So this would be like one way of like what I would call occupying the center, right? You can either occupy it with your guard, nothing wrong with that, or with a fist. You know, throw it in there. Even if it doesn't land, it's like whoa. You know, right? Yeah. So we didn't really talk about footwork yet, but that's like the arm, isolating the arm.
Right.
Bam, 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 you know, so every time I touch your arm, you actually have it's like a measuring tool, right? If you feed me a punch here and I'm near your wrist, see, I can reach you, right? Now, you know, yeah, of course, here. So if I'm like back here and you have to step forward to do this, you know, I can make an adjustment now and do the exact same thing, right? And so, or you can come around, it doesn't matter. Right, I just adjusted slightly, right? We're just dealing with an individual thing, but I'm always concerned with the other arm too, right? Because they're gonna come in hot. So if I'm like somehow delayed with between this and that, there's a good chance you might throw the second punch and might not realize you're gonna get hit and still hit me anyways, right? So I don't wanna trade, right? That's not how you win. That's like how you tie, right? And that's fine in a race or something, but in a fist fight, it's not so fun, right? So what I want you to do this time is kind of move forward a little bit on each punch. All right, so I block. Do the other one. It's okay. And what I'm trying to do here as we go along, although I broke my rule just there, is I'm trying to like not put myself in a position where you can easily throw that other punch.
Yeah.
Right? Like, 'cause I just stepped slightly over. It's not all the way out of the way, but by the time you throw it, I'm in a much, you know, shorter distance, if that makes any sense, right? So I'll let you try that for a second here. So I'm just gonna move, reposition. Okay. So you're watching my eyes a lot. You can still see, and you're moving towards my other hand. You notice that? Like, I'm trying to move away from your other hand. And that's like part of the strategy, like you mentioned before, getting to the blind side, is I'm trying to increase your distance that you have to travel while at the same time making mine shorter, which seems like impossible, but for these moments, you know, that's happening, right? So what I want you to try is just do what you were just doing, but just try to make a little adjustment on each one. Like, and you can stick to this, or you can just sort of feed different strikes from one arm. Doesn't really matter, right? The main thing is that you focus on the elbow, and as soon as you touch the arm, you know how close I am to you, right? Like right now, I know I can't touch you, but when you step forward and throw that punch and I touch your arm, okay, guess what?
Right.
It puts me in danger too, sorry. But like, you know, I know kind of instinctively from practice where my targets should be, right? Now, you might move, you might whatever, but the point is I'm going to make you move, right? If I don't throw that punch, you're just going to eventually get through, right? If I let you throw 100 punches, even if I'm like 99 accuracy, one of them still gets through now.
Well, the intention should always be to attack, right?
Absolutely, and
even if you don't, the intention should still be there.
I agree, yeah. And you're trying to place yourself in a situation where it's favorable for that purpose, right? And this is still just using one arm.
Right.
If you can, just try to use one arm only and isolate that as much as you can, all right? So maybe go for about 1 minute. Start off slow and just sort of build it.
Wait, are we just blocking stuff?
No, yes, and also, you know, and also trying to find, it doesn't mean you have to do it every time, but if you can start to figure out how to, you know, get that in and then get it back to your guard again, that would be ideal, right? Good. Good, and you just keep moving around. Yeah, keep moving around, trying to get around them somehow. You can throw around his guard.
Punches sometimes too.
Good. That's it. Take your time. Yeah.
My uppercut.
Good. 30 seconds. Good. 10 more seconds. Good. A little faster now, just to make it a little trickier. Okay. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, switch. So you get a turn. Yeah. So just be doing the exact same thing for your partner. Good. Don't drop that hand. Bring it back to your guard, like in the center, right? See there, it's down by your hip. Good. That's it. Back up. Up, up. Yeah, not down here.
Do it slower.
Good. After your punch, don't drop it.
Every time you block, try to hit.
Good. That's better, yes. Good. Good. There you go.
You play guitar, right?
Yes.
You know what a grace note is? It's like da-da. So there's a da-da and 1. There you go.
Pop, pop.
That talks of music.
Yeah.
You get it. Bop, bop. Bop, bop. Touch, hit.
That's it.
Touch, hit.
Good. Remember to watch his elbow. We've got 20 seconds left. Okay, all right. Getting the hang of it, right? All right. Okay, so here we go. So we were just working on this like one arm exercise, right? But obviously you got two arms, you want to know how to use them.
Right.
So a little brief explanation, like to help us learn about like how to deal with combos, right? So if you want to, say, so I move slightly to the side. I'm going to take a little half a step. Now I have an option here of doing this punch or maybe this punch, right? It seems a little far at the moment, right? Depending on how close you come in. But this time what I want you to do is right away, as soon as I touch this or even before, is to throw another one from the other side. Yeah. So just try that. So you can step forward a bit. Yeah. Okay. So what this arm is doing is still that.
Right.
But in between, as you pull this one back to throw that one, there should be a small opening there. Okay, so if we do that super slow.
Guys, do me a favor. This is one issue with Wing Chun. We're only used to dealing with these punches. Throw a street fighting punch or boxing punch. I prefer the attacker to do non-Wing Chun punches.
Okay.
It's a whole different dynamic with the elbow out and the elbow down. So you're the street fighter.
Okay. So whatever you want to do, right? So you see how like that kind of meets this should get here around the same time this gets here. Because you would hopefully be aiming for me here, but I moved.
Right.
So I'm no longer where you were aiming. Right. Now it doesn't mean you can't follow me. It just means that it slows you down a little bit. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then I got to follow up from there. Does that make sense? Right? Like so. Okay. Just so you can say. So say you lead with this one. I'm gonna step. Okay. Okay. Good. You can throw that one a little tighter if you want. Like, not so. No, this should still work. Okay. I'll come over here a little bit, just in case we can't be seen. Okay. All right. So it goes half a step to the outside. Launch my counter attack, but I don't want to. I kind of want to avoid that if I can, right? So I'm going to put my well, I would call this a wusao, like the vertical one, right? Good, yeah. All right, so that makes it not so easy to throw the third punch if you don't want to get hit with this one. And then a possible follow-up from here would just be to step in and just let her rip, right? Does that make sense? So what we were doing earlier when we touched the arm and punched, that's still happening. But what I would suggest, in this case, I'll do it super slow. As soon as you touch this arm, pause for a second, you know where this arm is now, right? You can feel it. So you can actually watch for this one. So your eye goes there now. You can tell where my face is. Boom.
Touch one arm, watch the other.
Yeah, yeah. That would be like a way to remember it, right?
I'm already touching.
Yeah. Now, sometimes that happens fast, but in this example here, as soon as you touch, you look across, because I kind of would be surprised if they didn't throw a follow-up, right? Happily surprised, but like, but you see, it opens. Me being aggressive actually makes this worse for me, you know, in that sense, right? Again, just make sure you like half a step over, right? That increases the distance I got to travel to get to you. And now this one could, if you step again, you could kind of follow up from there. You want to try that? So I'm going to lead with this one. So as soon as you touch this one, we'll walk through it. Take a little with your front foot, a little bit over to the side. And then when you feel this happen, this one's going to punch. Yeah, good, good. All right, so you don't want it to continue to descend, right? So you watch the elbow. As soon as you touch this arm, what should you look at? So, because you can see where my face is, right? Without really staring at it.
Right.
So this is coming in hot, so you don't want to miss that. But you see how my head didn't really, I can't detach it from my head. That's your job. Right? So as soon as you touch, you look across. Boom. Right? Don't bring this too low. All right, if you can help it. Yeah, bam. See it. That's getting better.
Okay.
You gotta wait for that brother to move right.
Okay.
You gotta move to your right twice. Move to your right. Take it off.
Good. Keep your balance though, right?
Yeah,
like you're a
you
little
got
bit
it.
leaning.
Right,
I know. You want to step with the front foot first if you can do that. So it would be more like, yeah, maybe not sliding across and behind so far. Just make it small. So as soon as you touch this one by looking across, you know, because I might come under, I might do a different angle. You're seeing it from its beginning rather than waiting for it to be here and go, oh shoot, yeah, duck. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. So non-contact, like so before contact, I'm watching that lead elbow. But as soon as contact is made,
I'm more likely, and it gives away the whole entire system.
exactly. Plus, I've only got two arms, so if you can kind of like process of elimination, you know where this one is. Where's the other one? You know where this one is, where's the other one? You know where this one is, where's the other one? So if this theoretically kept coming and say I couldn't feel pain or something, you know, I'll just keep going. But if you touch one arm, look at the other. Where's the other one? Where's the other one? Where's the other one? Where's the other one? And in between all this, you can kind of sense where there's openings for yourself. Can you reach me? Yeah, exactly. Can you reach me? Maybe, maybe not, right? Like it just depends on your positioning and kind of which way your body's angled. So just going to try that super slow. So touch one arm, look at the other one. Good. Where's the other one now? Where's the other one now? Where's the other one? Where's the other one? You can keep moving a bit. I'll follow you. Right? Where's the other one? Where's the other one? Good. Now see if you can find little openings in between them. Bam. Bam. And still figure out where that other arm is. There's a lot going on. Good. I got to find a way to slow me down. The best way is to throw a punch. Good. You see, you know, because like otherwise I'll start to, like usually combos kind of build in speed and power. Like it's like a jab, a cross, and then bam, you know, like that. They kind of like get heavier and heavier as they go on.
So for that, were you wanting me to like maintain that contact and then push your divot?
Like yes and no. Like you don't have to grab it or anything like that. If they pull their arm away, so be it. You know, it's just, it is what it is. Yeah, exactly. It's there, and then so that contact tells me something. Let's say it's down here. Like, so this is, it's dead, right? What if this was happening? Move, 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 right? What if this happened? The other one's coming, right? So it's either you're going to stop, push through your defense or try, or it's going to like pull away for another attack to happen. Does that make sense, right? Like, so you kind of, there's probably variables in between, but you know, when it hurts my arm, say I do this, okay, that one, it's dead now, right? So nothing's really happening. There's no real threat to you. You can kind of attack now, right? But okay, now, but what if this was happening? So you had to move that time, right? Because it was either you're strong enough or you're not. And even if you are strong enough, doesn't mean you have to stand there and, you know, fight that way.
My objective is where you out.
Exactly, right. So, or this might happen. You see, it pulled away almost instantly, right? So it either stops dead, you attack. It follows through, you get out of the way. Get out of the way, yeah. or it pulls away and another punch is coming, right? Like, so those are kind of like, it can sort of change directions, but usually not. Usually it's kind of coming through. There are sneaky little things that people can try to do and stuff, but we'll get to that another time. Sometimes, yeah, exactly. But you know, there is sneaky stuff out there, and but the basics is, you know, if I'm lucky enough to get my arm there, I determine like what's happening from that moment, right? So it's either strong, it hurt, so it kind of dies, or it pulls away, which tells me, okay, there's another. Where is it? 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 And in between all that, I might see some openings too, if I'm prepared for that, right? So, okay, so what I'd like you to try, kind of like at about like a 50% speed rate, is just to kind of, I'll just feed it to you the first time. So I'm coming to you. I'm just going to kind of like do some singles. Good. Yeah, see where those openings are. Watch the elbow if you can. Good. And now what about this? You see? This is different, right? It feels a little different than just a single dying pow. You can pop me, right? But if it pulls away right away, right? So now touch one arm, look at the other one. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And if nothing's happening, there you go. Right? You going to try that? So I'm going to say, we'll stick to the pattern. 1, 2, 3. And nothing's happening. Yeah. Right? Pop, pop, pop. Punch. Bam, bam, bam. Right? Pop, pop, pop. Bam, bam, bam. Good. Pop, pop. Good. Oh, sorry, that one was, I was trying to trick you a little bit there, but like, if it's pushing, you can move, right? I'm pushing through, and you let it go. There's different ways you can do that, of course, right? But see, by touching my arm, you can kind of sense where that force is going. So if I'm going right at your face, you have to move somewhere. Anywhere is better than where you are, almost, right? You know, if that's where I'm targeting, a heavy bag doesn't move out of the way, so I can. Right. 7, yes. Right, but you know, it's not punching back, and it's not moving out of the way, right? So
Remaining stationary.
that's right, yeah. So what I'd like you to try to do is like do those 3, 1, 2, 3, like so, 1, 2, 3, and then as soon as the third one's there, you can try something, just whatever comes naturally. All right. So 1 minute each.